y'all. Hey, welcome back. It's Amber, and let's get into this video of the week. We're doing the numbers for June 11th to June 13th, as well as predicting the top 5 for this coming weekend, going over what's coming out that's new. Also, a last-minute film festival attendee where Justin Long premiered his new movie with his brother. Let's get started. Alright, so I thought I would do something different this week. Instead of just jumping right into the numbers for June 11th through the 13th, maybe let's go over the new stuff first. So coming out, the only thing coming out this weekend that's wide released, as you can see, is The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, which is kind of a tongue twister. I watched the trailer a little bit ago.
Not only are we safe, this really feels like a new beginning.
Keep seeing it in front of all these other movies, so it's kind of being shoved down my throat a little bit. But it looks like a lot of fun. The first time I watched it was, for some reason, I had bad reception at home. Why is this not playing right?
Gotta let that buffer.
Samuel Jackson. But I did my best to react to it. It does look like a lot of fun. It seems like Samuel Jackson and Ryan Reynolds has really good chemistry together with jokes and whatnot, but then again, it's Ryan Reynolds. I think he could pretty much do that with a paper bag and it'd still be really funny. I probably won't go see it for a little bit since it's being released on a Wednesday to get bigger numbers, I'm assuming. At least The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard was smart enough not to come out next week, because next week is Fast and Furious 9. So that's pretty much gonna destroy everyone at the box office next week. Little update on my watching schedule. Still haven't watched the first episode of Loki. I'm actually surprised I still haven't watched it. So still haven't figured out if I want to do a live stream of me watching the first episode. Not this time, it'll probably be the first 2 episodes before I'm able to do that, or even the 3, who knows. But like this video if you want to see a live stream of me watching Loki individually, like I live stream for each episode. If this video gets 10 likes, then I'll do that. So like the video. I still haven't seen The Conjuring 3, and like I said in last week's video, I wasn't going to be seeing In the Heights opening weekend, and I haven't seen that. I've actually been busy rewatching childhood movies that were filmed in Oregon and Seattle, or just the Washington area, because we're going on vacation this weekend to that area, and I kind of want to find some filming locations. So I'm taking notes while watching these movies and just remembering why I love so many of them, like Goonies and Harry and the Hendersons.
Bribery.
Stand By Me.
Shut up!
I don't shut up.
Shut up! I grow up! And when I look at you, I throw up.
Free Willy, Kindergarten Cop, like the list is ridiculous, especially in Oregon, so I'm really excited to be able to go and find some of those filming locations this weekend. Hell, maybe there'll be a video, but I'm not promising anything. Also, with that little leaflet of information, I would like to apologize in advance if next week's video is super late or does not exist. Just know that that means I'm having fun in Oregon, yay, and Washington. And then I will have one out as soon as I'm able. One movie I did get to watch new movie-wise was Lady of the Manor, which is a movie that was written and directed by Christian and Justin Long. Yeah, that Justin Long. You know, you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge anything. Jeepers Creepers, Justin Long, yeah. Him and his brother wrote and directed a movie called Lady of the Manor. And I had no idea that it was premiering at the Gasparilla Film Festival here in Tampa. My friend Leilani told me the night before, so I'm like, hey, if I can afford tickets, I'm going. And I did! It was a fun experience. It breaks my heart to say it, but the movie it was lacking so many things. And again, that just hurts me to say that because I really love Justin Long. You could definitely tell there was heart behind the making of this movie. And I don't know, it's just the writing was there, but I feel like the execution wasn't, and it was just falling flat over and over. The crowd that I was there with loved it, and I think a lot of that was because it was actually filmed here and seen places that were familiar and such, which kind of bleeds into my excitement for this weekend to be going to find filming locations from some of my favorite childhood movies. It should be, I think they said something about it being released sometime in September by Lionsgate, so definitely check that out. I would love to see and hear you guys' thoughts, so if you do in the future see it, let me know. I'd love to discuss it with you, and let's get on with the video. Alright, so first up, the changes from last week's top 5, which really we have just 2 changes, but I'm going to go over 4 different ones that I find interesting. The first one is at number 12 this week was Raya and the Last Dragon. It only made $209,000, which last week it was at number 5 and it made 1.3. But again, it's been out since March, so that kind of makes sense. And we do have 2.5 kind of kid films, even though I really don't think Cruella is kid friendly, but that's just me. So yeah, number 12, Raya and the Last Dragon. Number 10 was Spiral, which made $334,000 this week. Last week it was at number 7 and it made $890,000. Probably going to disappear from the top 10 as well, the more we get into the summer and more blockbusters coming out. Number 8 was Wrath of Man, making $672,000 this week. Jason Statham. Last week it was number 6 and it made $1.2 million. And the last change I was going to bring up at number 6 is Spirit Untamed. This week it made $2.5 million. Last week it was number 4 and it made $6 million. So you know what that means. Apparently the 2 new ones made it into the top 5, or maybe someone surprised us that was in the top 10 and jumped back into the top 5. Let's find out. Before we find out the actual numbers, let's go over what I predicted last week. I know I was going back and forth between trying to figure out who I thought would land where in the top 5, but after reviewing last week's video, which if you haven't watched it, I'll put it up above me somewhere. Actually, I want to say that I didn't have them in any particular order, but then I just made a wild guess at the end, and I put In the Heights at number 5, Cruella at number 4, Peter Rabbit 2 at number 3, The Conjuring 3 at number 2, and A Quiet Place Part 2 at number 1. So let's see how well I did. Okay, at number 5 was Cruella, making $6 million this weekend. Last weekend she was at number 3 and she made $11 million. Number 4, surprising, was The Conjuring 3. It made $10 million this weekend. The weekend before last, it was number 1 in its opening weekend, making $24 million. I was very surprised when I saw that was number 4, since I predicted it as number 2. Number 3 in its opening weekend was Peter Rabbit 2, making $10 million as well. I was very surprised that it was that high in the top 5, but again, there's no other family-friendly movies in the top 5, so it makes sense. The biggest surprise of the week for me was number 2, also in its opening weekend, was In the Heights, making $11 million. Like I predicted, it would get in the top 5, but I didn't expect it to get that high in the top 5, but it also makes sense to me because, again, like I said last week, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he's got a great big following, so I am still like, wow. Especially since it's also on HBO Max, so I just assume more people would just watch it at home. So good job with that movie being number 2. And at number 1, just like I predicted, A Quiet Place Part 2, making $12 million. Last week it was number 2, making $19 million. So welcome back to first place. Quiet Place. And those are the numbers for June 11th through the 13th. How well did you do with your predictions? As you can see, I got 1 right. But all the ones that I chose were in the top 5. They just weren't in the right order, so I'll give myself that point. What do you think's gonna be the top 5 for next week? Being that The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard comes out, like I said earlier, it's gonna be number 1. Hands down, I know it's gonna be number 1. Everyone loves Ryan Reynolds. I feel like A Quiet Place Part 2 is still gonna be pretty high in the top 5. So I'm gonna say like Hitman's Wife Bodyguard, Quiet Place, Peter Rabbit 2, and then I'm gonna go Conjuring 3, and Cruella's gonna hang on a little bit, but I don't know. I think Cruella might actually get knocked out of the top 5, but we might also see a big drop within the Heights as well. So I really believe it's between those 2, but I could also be completely wrong. That's my choice, man. I'm sticking with it. Comment down below your predictions for this coming weekend. We could discuss it to see who actually gets them right next week. That's it for me with these numbers this week. So remember, if this video gets 10 likes, I'll do a live stream of the Loki I almost said the Loki trailer. My God, the Loki episode. Like this video. Make sure also, if you're enjoying this content, to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the new stuff that I have planned coming out in the future and soon. And maybe there'll be a sneak peek of our vacation. Who knows? And you don't want to miss that. Because, I mean, what kind of filming locations might I find? Definitely comment down below if you know any cool like filming locations in Oregon or Washington that you think we should check out so we can check them out. And until next time, be safe, be well, be silly, and as always, and forever, say hello to your mother for me. Yeah. Bye guys!